Hello everyone. In this video we're going to learn how to write an expression of this type. It's a composition of two trigonometric functions in the form of an algebraic expression which will have no trigonometric functions in it by the time we're finished. So to do that we're going to start out by giving this expression here a name. We know it's an angle. It's some angle between 0 and pi where the secant of that angle is going to be u over 8. Of course, with the exception of pi over 2 where the secant is not defined. All right, so we're going to give it a name. We're going to let inverse secant of u over 8 be like theta. So we're going to basically try to find an expression from the given information. We know that if the inverse secant of u over 8 is theta, that means the secant of theta must be u over 8. That's just directly from what inverse functions mean. So it also means, if you're more comfortable working with cosines, it means that the cosine of theta is the reciprocal of that, 8 over u. So if we set up a graphic for this, we have cosine. We want to draw an angle whose cosine, which is adjacent over hypotenuse, is 8 over u. So the adjacent side here is theta. The adjacent side will be theta. There will be 8, and the hypotenuse will be u. So we will want to go ahead and find what this opposite side is, because if we go back to our original expression, notice now we can say that sine of 2 theta, correct? Because remember, we called this item here, we called it theta. So it's the same as sine 2 theta, which as we know is 2 sine theta cosine theta. So we're going to need sine of theta and cosine of theta. We already know cosine of theta. We found it here. So we need the sine of theta. So for that, we will need this opposite side. So let's just go ahead and give it a name like y. So we're going to go ahead and find y. So we have y squared plus 8 squared equals u squared. So y squared equals u squared minus 64. So y is going to be the square root of u squared minus 64. So given the fact that u is positive, we know that u over 8 will also be positive. So we're looking for an angle whose secant is a positive number. So because secant, inverse secant is going to be looking between 0 and pi, we know that's going to have to be in here. So that's why we only take the positive square root of u squared minus 64. All right, so now we're ready to go to work. We can see that we have cosine of theta, and now we can see that sine of theta is y over u. So square root of, we know y is the square root of u squared minus 64. So it's going to be the square root of u squared minus 64 over u. So now we're going to get 2 times that expression, which is sine theta, over u times cosine theta, which is 8 over u. So we end up finally with 16 radical u squared minus 64 over u squared. And that's what we mean when we say find the algebraic expression. Notice there's no trigonometric function in here, and that is how we get one of these done. So be safe until our next video.